So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 175th episode. In the last 174 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with nearly 3,000 plus school leaders on this very platform where they've shared their ideas, opinions, innovations, and what all new are they doing in the K-12 space. नमस्कार, आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है ब्लब वर्ल्ड वेब टॉक्स के 175वें एपिसोड में। इससे पहले के 174 एपिसोड्स में हम लोग करीबन 3000 से ज्यादा स्कूल लीडर से बातचीत कर चुके हैं, ये जानने और समझने के लिए कि वो शिक्षा को कैसे बदल रहे हैं और शिक्षा उन्हें कैसे बदल रही है। बिकॉज सिंस कोविड केम इन, द कंप्लीट एजुकेशन इकोसिस्टम गॉट रीजिग्ड. Everyone started to innovate or rather try new and new things in their own ecosystems to learn and at the same time strengthen the process of learning. So most importantly, आज के जो अगले 60 मिनट हमारे पास हैं, उसमें हम हमारे आज के अमेजिंग स्पीकर से ये सब समझने की कोशिश करेंगे कि what do they think is the role of teenagers in governance? That is there really a role for them? Should we be listening to them? Should we be taking them seriously? Or should we absolutely be forgetting them and continue with a simple ride of defining the world the way we visualize it? And can we really risk that when we are entering into a world that we do not understand completely and where they are the technology natives? So thank you so much everyone for joining in on the Zoom call and some of the people who are listening to us on YouTube. So today, in the next 60 minutes, let's try to know from our amazing speakers that should teens influence global policies? And when I say influence global policies, it actually brings out two questions. The first one, why? And the second one, how? That अगर करना चाहिए तो कैसे करना चाहिए, और अगर नहीं करना चाहिए तो क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए, ये चीज समझेंगे आज हमारे स्पीकर से. So thank you so much everyone for joining in today. Let me invite the first speaker for today to initiate the roundtable. Before we start that, just two things about the platform. First, the Blub World Web Talks is a bilingual platform, so you can use English or Hindi, any of these two languages in the complete conversation. If you want, you can use a third one, but I won't get it. So try using the first and the second one only. Secondly, think of the Blub World Web Talks as a speaking sprint. Once your speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It's just to keep the activity crisp and enjoyable for everyone. But if you miss out onto anything, there will be an open floor at the end when we'll open the floor and we'll have quite an open discussion about the topic. So let me invite the first speaker for today to initiate this roundtable, Mr. Kumar Shekhar Vijender, co-founder and chancellor of Shobhit University from Meerut. Kumar Shekhar ji, over to you, and trying to understand from you that should teens influence global policies?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Daksh. And first of all, let me congratulate you and the Bulb World to giving a new light through your bulb. 175 episode of any series is amazing. It shows your conviction, commitment, and a zeal to do something new. What you are doing, you are creating new knowledge setup. Generally, what happens that when we talk about anything, we repeat the things, we do not create new, but you have given a platform to 3,000 plus people to come and share their views, and I'm happy that I am here today. If I look at the topic of the day, should teens influence global policies? One, we have to understand the world is becoming younger day by day. The total population, if we look in India, if we look, 65% is below 35. If I look at global scenario, 44% is below 35. So we are going to be a young country. When we look at the policies, actually policies are made for whom? Policies are made for the future. And generally what happens when we make the policies for the future, we forget to talk to the future. We forget to speak to the future. We forget to ask them what future actually you are looking forward. तो द प्रॉब्लम इज कि बच्चे को हम कहते हैं कि तू अभी बच्चा है जब तक मेरे पास है, और जैसे ही वो बाहर जाता है हम कहते हैं अब तू बड़ा हो गया। तो एक पशुपेश है उसके साथ कि मैं बड़ा हूँ या बच्चा हूँ, और कहीं ना कहीं डिसीजन मेकिंग में वो हमारा हिस्सा नहीं बन पाता है। तो एक बहुत बड़ा सवाल है। जहां तक मैं देखता हूँ एक ग्लोबल वर्ल्ड है, हम सब इस पे बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ग्लोबलाइजेशन को जब हम देखते हैं, इस ग्लोबलाइजेशन में बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस हैं जो आज के यूथ के लिए, बिकॉज दे हैव टू इंटीग्रेट विद देयर आइडेंटिटी and they have to dissolve their identity to be a part of that global world. And how to do that? We do not train them in our schools. We do not talk about it in our institutions at all, not at home. We do not make them a part of this policy making. There are certain names we can name, okay, 5 teams were there, 6 teams were there, those who influence the policies, and somebody was recommended for Nobel Prize, somebody was recommended for A prize or B prize, but that number is negligible. What we have to do? One, we have to understand that the teen is the future and they have to work, and we have to see that they are the actual heroes of the future. So it means in every policy, we have to see that their new ideas, their creativity, their possibilities, their digital knowledge has to be explored, and we have to work with them together. You have not mentioned me how much time I have to speak, so I'm just looking when you are going to mute me. So I do not know that exactly. And like when we talk about dissemination of the information today, the teen can work wonderfully. We all have to look into that possibility. How it is possible? One, we say, oh, okay, United Nations has a policy where teens are there. Daksh is having a teen parliament. Maybe that is helping. But these initiatives need to be societal initiatives. Like a spark has to be there. In schools, it has to be there. In universities, it has to be there. In families, it has to be there. In institutions, other than academic institutions, it has to be. When we look at our local thing, so generally in political system, we are not using them. I think it has to be used. And I'm sure once it is there, so I have to mute. And this muting we have to learn when our teens are talking about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shekhar sir, for initiating the roundtable. And I think the most apt sense, आपने कुछ जो बातें कही जो डिस्कशन में आगे ले जानी चाहिए. सबसे पहला तो we forget to ask the future that what do we actually want for the future. हम लोग भविष्य के बारे में पॉलिसीज बनाते हैं, लेकिन भविष्य से पूछना भूल जाते हैं, और वो डिसीजन मेकिंग का कहीं भी पार्ट नहीं होता. जबकि हम हर बार उनको इनेबल करने के लिए पॉलिसी बना रहे हैं. आप अपने भविष्य को सुधारने के लिए कुछ ना कुछ गवर्नेंस में चेंजेस कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आप भविष्य से बात नहीं कर रहे. और ये डिसीजन ऑटोमेटिकली या ऑर्गेनिकली नहीं हुआ है, इसे बहुत इनऑर्गेनिकली लिया गया है कि हमें फ्यूचर को इतना ज्यादा तवज्जो नहीं देना है. उसके कारण बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, हम समझने की कोशिश करेंगे एज वी प्रोसीड इन द टॉक. देन यू मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंटली टॉक्ड अबाउट कि हम ग्लोबलाइजेशन की दौड़ में अपनी आइडेंटिटी, अपनी एथनिसिटी को बहुत बार डिसॉल्व कर देते हैं जस्ट टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रुप, बिकॉज वी वांट टू बी आइडेंटिफाइड विद द ग्रुप, बिकॉज वी आर अ सोशल एनिमल. बट वी फॉरगेट कि whenever there is an outcast, he most of the times gets into a leading position to take the world to a completely new future. Thank you so much, Kumar Shekharji. Let me invite the next speaker for today. The next speaker comes from a very different kind of an experience. He brings in the experience of doctors. He brings in the experience of students who want to be doctors in the future. He brings in the experience of, at the moment, the most critical service to humanity that's being experienced by everyone across the globe. A very warm welcome, Dr. Balakrishna Shetty, the Vice Chancellor of Sri Siddhartha University from Karnataka. Balakrishna ji, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Daksha. You rightly said, in our college, we used to, we used to organize a Ganesha festival. When you talk about this teens involvement, I would definitely talk about a little bit about Ganesha's incarnation. You all must be knowing that Lord Ganesha was Parvati's son. He was like a security guard, and because of some various reasons, Lord Shiva comes and cuts his head, and then Parvati comes and pleads, Lord Shiva, you lost my son. Please do something and please get his head reconstructed. That's why we used to organize the Ganesha festival, because that's what we say, the first transplant, head transplant was done by Lord Shiva. And at that time, the story goes that Shiva will start finding for a head all over the world. Then he will get a head of the elephant, and that elephant's head is brought and put on that person, and that person is called as Lord Ganesha. When I was telling that story to a child, the child quickly asked me, why should we search for a head all around? That same head was there only. The Lord Shiva could have put the same head on that particular neck, and he would have created the body. Why I'm telling this story is, the teens are very innovative. Teens are very practical. They don't beat around the bush to talk something, to involve something, to implement something. So teens policies are very, very important, I would like to say. I also came to know an incident. One of the chief ministers, I would like to say, Chief Minister of Uttarakhand made one teen as a chief minister for a day. What a novel idea, you see, to get information for a team. That is a very good. I would like to say, I would like to listen to each and every student of my university. I would like to listen to them. I don't want to listen to so many people who talk about so many things, there are so many statements, so many guidelines. I would like to speak to a team. Meantime, we also say that teams outcomes, teams informations, teams suggestions, I would like to say they usually follow the Newtonian principles. Like, for every action, there is a reaction. You push something, it will go for some distance, then it will stop. If there is no resistance, it will stop. But teams suggestions will be under the, just like any Newtonian guidelines. I would like to say it is very difficult to follow the guidelines or the suggestions of the teams. But I would like to say, for a global policy, for a national policy, for the university policy, or for a school policy, everybody should listen to the team. That is where we come to know about the practical problems of the students. We always say, a student of a school or a team plays a pivotal role in education as well as in everything. He is a pivotal, but everywhere you see, you will be looking at the vice chancellor speaking, chancellor speaking, everybody speaking. But if you allow a team to speak, you will get a lot of practical questions, practical problems, but teams' solutions may not be very, very implementable. But teams' problems are very, very practical and very, very genuine. So I think teams should be heard, and the teams' problems are very, very genuine.
Thank you so much, Bala, sir. And I think you started with a very apt example of Ganesha, the Ganesha security, and the first head transplant, as we at least think about. And when we talk about that, you talked about why are teens so innovative and they're direct, and most importantly, they do not get influenced. Because when we look at the current ecosystem where the kind of future jobs that we are all imagining, experimentation has taken the front seat and experience has taken the back seat for some reason, because technology as of now is a place or an ecosystem where experience is very limited, and that is not playing a pivotal role in that. And that's why teenagers and the next generation has become important in all the decision making. I think you added an important point that when students come into the university or when they're there in your ecosystem, try making more spaces to listen to them. How do they visualize things going around them? And what kind of rules do they want for them? What kind of regulations do they want to follow? Because that will create a much more inclusive atmosphere for them. And that would also give them a peep into, if they become one of the decision makers in their future, how can they visualize it better? Thank you so much, sir. Let me invite the next speaker for today. Now let's have a perspective from the school ecosystem, that ecosystem that looks onto a child when he's in an absolute passive learning stage, when he's not an active learner and he has to be instructed or typically handheld to the next position. At that stage, can you really expect them to be a part of policy making? So a very warm welcome, Dr. Nicholas Koria, the Executive Director of New Horizon Group of Schools from Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra. Nicholas, so over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Daksh Gaur. there is an increased attention devoted to teens in global policy making. However, it is timely and apt. Participation of teens and youth in decision making is an investment. It is not just the need. The needs of teens are typically subsumed within policy briefs on children or adults, or narrowly focused on tackling particular social problems that young people are seen to be uniquely responsible for. We know that teenage is a critical phase due to biological, mental, cultural adaptations that need to be made in the transition to adulthood. Moral panics over social problems involving young people have led to the adoption of harsher policies, which create further problems. Governments across the globe, for instance, worry about rising number of teenage mothers. Yet some adopt policies that only intensify problems like banning sex education in schools. HIV/AIDS is the second most common cause of death among the teenage globally. Indeed, some of the policy gaps and policy failures are due to the fact that teenage and youth lack voice and representation in decision making. While they will face the consequences of decisions and non-decisions of policymakers, they are all too rarely consulted about the issues that affect them. It is hardly surprising that teenagers and youth have been lacking to the, they have been on the streets across the globe demanding more representation in their policy making, especially environmental issues, government corruption, repeated protests against sexual violence, etc. While this activism is welcome, this clearly indicates the need for more inclusive approaches, including more consultation and representation of teenagers and youth in policy debates of our times, engaging more directly with their aspirations and needs. The energy and creativity of teenagers and youth should be celebrated and encouraged and seen as the key transformative change. UNICEF is committed to help young people take action to protect the future of our planet. As stated in the Convention of Rights of the Child, every person under the age of 18 has the right to participate in decision-making processes that impact them. UNICEF helps teenagers and youth participate in climate action by giving them the opportunity to engage with leaders at events like United Nations Youth Climate Summit. UN has a long recognized the people as the major human resources for development and the agents for change. As already hand is raised, yeah, thank you so much. This is from my side. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, sir. I think you added a kind of a revolutionary aspect to it, or rather something that has to be pressed upon more severely, that the needs of the teenagers are normally subsumed. We never let a child draw a world of his own dreams. Once he comes into your pre-primary section, the first thing that we do is we force our view of the world on him and tell him this is the only way that you can see the world. And then when he actually reaches his teenage, we expect from him to do innovation. When we at the first step don't let them participate, how do we want them to take the initiative of such big changes in the world at an age where they themselves are fighting a lot of physiological changes? So you also talked about sex education in schools, HIV being one of the biggest causes of teen deaths globally. I think when we talk of all these aspects, the most important element that affects is the cultural taboos or the societal taboos that we have. And there's nobody who's ready to address them head on. Everybody wants to talk on about these just under covers, but never openly, and making it a much more bigger governance issue rather than just a lifestyle choice. So thank you so much, Nicholas. So let me invite the next speaker for today. The next speaker would add a perspective that would come from the rural background of India, and that also from the south part of India. A very warm welcome, Mr. Meru M, the founder secretary. from the Rural Institute of Community Education, Tamil Nadu. Meru sir, over to you for the next 3 minutes. A very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, sir, for all of you. First of all, I thank you for inviting me to share my views on should the teens participate in global policies. Then I say yes, finished. There's no discussion why and all that, but how, I'm going to talk about how. I'm in the field of child development for the last 40 years. What I have done, I can share with you. Probably this can influence people. And people talk about in high terms, in a high language about all these things. Forget about UNICEF and UNESCO and even our national youth policy, sports policy and all that. How each one of us can implement a policy and how this policy can be formulated. I can share my experience before you raise your hand. I have a very long story, but I can tell you 2 things I can tell you. When national education policy was floated, almost coming into some kind of a shape in 2019, we first asked our children. We had a very big after-day conference and asked them. There were teachers who were opposing it. I know national education policy is opposed very badly from Tamil Nadu. But you know what our children have said? I mean, let us discuss about this policy. And even one very strong child activist, he was saying, can I request all the teachers to go out? So we will discuss about this. And in 2020, 4 months ago, we had another webinar only by our school children. And we were asked not to speak. Then they discussed about this national educational policy, where they have said, this is our policy. Why are you shouting and screaming about this policy? We can decide about this. And they decided. After 2 hours of webinar, they asked me, Meru sir, what do you think about this? Can you say something? I told them, sorry, you did not want us to say, but I feel very humble, very small in front of you. They spoke so well. I mean, all the chapters were analyzed by these boys and girls. Only one was an ex-old student, alumni, but she was doing her first year law. But except all of them are in 11th and 12th standard, they spoke very well. This is number 1. Policies are to be discussed by the children themselves, and children should be given their priority to decide this, and we should keep up. If I'm invited to come and discuss about policy, I will bring my children first. That's number 1. The second example, what I would like to give you, all our appointments in the school are done by children, including the principal. I can give you a very small example. Once we had an interview for selecting a principal, 16 of them came. We had a management team, then we had the staff team, then children team. We finished at 5:30 and we all came together and we asked the students. So we asked, what is this? Then they asked me to say first thing, because you are going to pay the salary. We should not select somebody who is demanding an high salary and all that. I told them, don't worry about these things. I can beg and borrow and come and give you the money, and you can select your principal and you then. Then they asked me whom I have selected. I told about the lady who studied in English medium, 23 years of experience, 16 years as a teacher, the balance as a senior principal in South in Coimbatore district. But I told her name to the children. They said they are not, she's not in our list. I said, why? This boy said, sir, she has a very poor communication skill. I was surprised. I said, why is communication skill? She studied in English medium. She is an English teacher by herself. You know what that boy said? His name is Krishna. Krishna told me, sir, you are talking about a language. I'm talking about communication. Full of tears in my eyes, I went and hugged him. I mean, it's pre-COVID period. I just hugged him. Then he opened my eyes. I mean, I know language is different, communication is different. For communication, you don't need any language. Sir, only one more I can say. All our interviews today, what happened? Social studies teachers interview. In the social studies interview, the only children, I was not there, none of us was there. The children, they asked them, I believe, I heard it from the social studies teacher. They asked why we should wait for voting until 18. These are all old model. So as soon as we can become teens, 13, we should vote, and we should have the vote. As I think Dr. Shekhar was saying about the percentage of young people, world is becoming more younger and younger. I think we must give. Let us start from our home, from our school, from our universities. Let us not worry about what UNICEF and UNESCO is doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Meru sir. And I think if you have given the decision making of recruitment to teenagers, this is something that I think is replicable across education institutions, because this is the kind of power that you have to give a teenager. You cannot just preach that we'll be giving you power to on some or the other stage, and we are not ready to give them power in the things that we already have in our control. So now, before we go into an open floor, we have the last guest to speak, and then we'll go into the open floor when we'll have those questions coming in from the YouTube audience as well. So most importantly, when we are talking of, are we really ready to give teens that kind of a power? This is the real question that lies there. Because when we look at teenagers, we always think they're not mature enough. They're handling a lot of physiological issues. Are they really ready? And most importantly, they don't have that kind of an experience. Are these issues still relevant when we ourselves are lacking the skills that teenagers have for all the future ecosystem that we are experiencing? Let me invite the next speaker for today, Dr. Shubhra Thakur, the principal of Santosh College of Teachers Training and Education from Ranchi. Shubhra मैम, आपसे हम ये जानने की कोशिश करेंगे कि आप जब टीचर ट्रेनिंग करते हैं, बच्चों के एंगेजमेंट के ऊपर या बच्चों के पार्टिसिपेशन पे एक्चुअली कितना स्ट्रेस होता है? बिकॉज सिलेबस आपने भी कंप्लीट करना है, बच्चे टीचर्स को एग्जामिनेशन पास करवाने हैं. Over to you.
Good evening, Daksh, and all the eminent speakers. That's true that first of all, because my background is the school education. I had more than 30 years of experience in as a principal of a school. After that, I switched to the B.Ed college. So I have all kind of the grassroots level challenges, whatever we have faced. तो हम लोग टीचर्स को उसी तरह प्रिपेयर करते हैं by giving all the anecdotes, whatever I have experienced in my career. So India is, we know that it is the largest population of adolescents. Largest population, every fifth individual is a teen. And then in decision making, that is the sad part, that they are not being involved. So first of all, and as a principal, what I have experienced, that once all the portfolios, once it is allocated to the students, I find more creative, more innovative, more energetic these ideas, whatever they are giving to us. That is not even, we could not even imagine it. I'm giving you one example. In the we know that CBSE is holding the science exhibition at the regional, and then later on at state, and then to the national level. I have given a simple idea to the students that Bihar is facing too much the flood issues, and Jharkhand is facing the drought issues. Why can't we have certain ideas which we can explore, that the water from Bihar to Jharkhand? Can we carry them out? I'm telling you, Daksh, beautifully and more creative, more innovative way, they have given a very brilliant idea, and we won the this award at national level also. What they did, they have just channelized all these waters to Jharkhand through the different areas, the slopes and all. They have beautifully worked it out. And where to then keep the water? ये भी एक issue था कि पानी रखे कहाँ लेके आके. तो all these open cast mines, which are barren now, they have made it a reservoir. And we won, though the idea has not been even till date, it has not been entertained, but I am very sure that it is going to be entertained in future, and that can resolve all the drought issues of Jharkhand and the flood issue of the Bihar. So they are curse, and that would become our boon. So that what is my experience, that students are very innovative in their approach. Teenagers को हम लोगों ने involve नहीं किया. If we will involve them in kind of all the justice, whatever is being given to the people, in kind of the environment issue, one of the speaker was speaking, then in the case of education and health, that is the most important part. और अभी जो ये AI आ गया, artificial intelligence is the field of them only. it is their innovation, their creativity. और इन लोग जो कर सकते हैं ये स्टूडेंट्स, ये हम लोग नहीं कर सकते हैं, because all these digital world is made for them. So we have not been trained to that level. तो अब हम क्या कर रहे हैं, in the B.Ed colleges, whatever is my experience, I am trying to give it to the future teachers, so that they can make them more digitally sound, more computer savvy. Sorry, it's okay. Thank you, Daksh, for giving me the opportunity to speak on the topic. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू सो मच शुभा मैम. एंड यस, जब टीचर्स के साथ में आप ये बातचीत करना शुरू करेंगे कि आपको स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कैसे और अकोमोडेटिव होना है, then you'll be actually able to create a kind of an open space for them where they can innovate, they can ideate. So we have listened to the opening statements of most of our speakers. So now I have a very specific question that I'll put to all the speakers one after the other. मैं उसमें अलग-अलग एस्पेक्ट से कोशिश करूंगा ये जानने की कि क्या टीनेजर्स सच में तैयार हैं डिसीजन मेकिंग का या पॉलिसी मेकिंग का पार्ट होने के लिए. So this first question is to Kumar Shekhar ji. Kumar Shekhar ji, you have a very prolific background in the field of education. Your family also has a very prolific background, and most importantly, you also have been a part of the ruling galleys of this country. So, क्या आपको ये सच में लगता है, या do you actually feel somewhere that there is some kind of a political intent that over a course of time, teenagers could really be a part of policy making? Because even when we look at the national education policy, तो उसकी framing में, उसके बनने में, या उसके even the national curriculum framework जो अभी तैयार हो रहा है, उसमें भी टीनेजर्स कोई स्टेक होल्डर नहीं है, जबकि सबसे बड़ा कंज्यूमर उसका वही होने वाला है. सो व्हाट्स योर थॉट ऑन इट, कि क्या ऐसा होना चाहिए, क्या नहीं होना चाहिए? एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली, नॉट टू पुट यू इन द स्पॉट, बट एटलीस्ट कि आपकी तरफ से वो थॉट प्रोसेस क्या होगा?
It's very interesting question, Daksh. When we look at in political scenario, teenagers are already there. Like at 18, we make them voters. But the issue is not that politically they are decision makers or they can put an impact or not. The thing is how we train them. One of the speaker was talking about the dreams of the people. Once we did an experiment in the university, I'm talking university, not a school, where I said, okay, why don't you come to the newcomers and shout your dream loud? You come on the stage and shout your dream loud. Can you imagine that out of 100, very few were there who had a clear dream, a vision, what they want to be? Just they had, I want to be an engineer, I want to be this and that, but why? What is your dream at life? You know, this is a challenge what need to be addressed. When we talk about the education policy, if you look at the education policy very deeply, so what education policy is talking about? Earlier, we were talking about head. All information in your head and you become an engineer, you become a doctor. However, doctors are different because they do internships also, but generally it was happening. This new education policy is not only talking about head, it is talking about head, heart, and hand. You have to become a good human being. It means right from your childhood, a training has to be there. You have to have the skill that what knowledge is there, you can apply it with your hand. So this is the part of that. And for that purpose, they are very strong. I have an opinion because, you know, once we detach our youth from policy making, so what happens? We degrade them. And this is what we have to understand in the families. And degradation of any youth creates depression, destruction, and a lot of other issues come. This is a social issue which we all need to address. However, in the country, in India, if we look at the past, I really loved what Dr. Shetty spoke about Ganesha. I never thought that way. That was a brilliant example. There are such many examples, such many possibilities which are there, and right from the school level, we have to work in the direction, or even not a school, right? In our families, we have to develop. I've seen that where in families, children are listened, those families are well born and children are well grown and more successful. So that has to be seen. And if we look at a global world, global family, it means everywhere we have to adopt the same policy.
एक सवाल जिसकी तरफ मैं वापस से आपको डायरेक्ट करूंगा कि क्या आपको सच में लगता है कि इन अ सोसाइटी लाइक इंडिया एंड इन अ काइंड ऑफ पॉलिटिकल इकोसिस्टम दैट वी आर ऑल इन, would teenagers actually be a part of at least the consultation process in policy making? क्या आपको भविष्य में लगता है? On a practical note.
अब मुझे ऐसा लगता है इसमें दक्ष कि ये पॉसिबिलिटीज हैं और ऐसा होने भी लगा है। ऐसा इसलिए होने लगा है जब से हम डिजिटल वर्ल्ड की बात करने लगे हैं, तो जो जनरेशन 50+ है उसे मजबूरी हो गई है कि वो टीनेजर्स के पास जाए। अभी वो उसे इन्फ्लुएंसर तो बना रही है, लेकिन इन्फ्लुएंसर बना रही है वो अपने थॉट प्रोसेस में। बट जनरली व्हाट हैपेंस दैट व्हेन आई से यू ओके यू डू दिस थिंग, it means suddenly I put a seed in your mind that you think how I can do it differently, if it is right or wrong. So that process is already started in the country. Not only in the country, globally it has started. We have seen in many countries there were youth upbringing, or I'm not willing to use those words. Fine. But it is a fact that this possibility is there and they are influencers. Because once you are a social influencer, it means you are going to be a policy influencer also. And that part is coming to India. In many countries, it had already been there. Just we have to encourage it at micro level also. In schools, in every unit, we have to encourage.
Absolutely. One of the very important things that you said is once you're a social influencer, you start influencing policies at a very small level. But to formalize it, to take it to an upper structure is something that I think would need a lot more pressure from people who are in power. And at the same time, not only in power, even people who are taking small decisions in the education space, because you'll have to enable them skilled students when they're in the school. You cannot start that process once they come in college or once they're out of that university. Now, before I move on to the next speaker, I have another question for Dr. Bala Shetty. A very big reason, or a very big, if I say Hindi में तो एक बहुत बड़ा बहाना ये दिया जाता है कि टीनेजर्स फिजियोलॉजिकली और मेंटली तैयार नहीं हैं, इनको इतनी बड़ी जिम्मेदारियां मत दीजिए. Teenagers are not ready physiologically and mentally, so let's not expect such great things from them. So what's your opinion on that? That are teens really medically, physiologically ready to be policy makers?
Yes, it's a good question. As a doctor, I would say by physiology or by anatomy, I would like to say, one thing I would like to say, as far the brain development is considered, a complete brain development happens within 6 months. After that, there is no brain development at all, the first point. And in the entire development of the human body, they say every child is born genius and goes to the school to become an idiot. Because we tell the child, you read this, read this, read this. Because the child knows so many things. I would like to say, making it little short, I would like to say, each and every policies should be drafted by a student or a teenager, I would like to say. But coming to the implementation, I would like to give a beautiful example, because Madam was talking about flood and draft. A teen was thinking, this God doesn't have any knowledge at all. So many times when I don't want water, there is a lot of water. When I put the seed, there is water. When this is growing up, there is no water. That time there is drought. And this God doesn't have any brain at all. When I don't want water, there is water. When I don't want water, there is water. So then he said, I should have the control of how much water I should give. So he started a khet or a field. And he said, when water is there, water is to come. When sun should be there, sun is to come. So very good water. That paddy field was growing. It grew almost like the confusion whether it is a paddy field or it is a sugarcane field, something like that. It was just growing, but it was not giving any, the grains were not coming. It was just growing because water is there, manure is there, sun is there, light is there, but there are no grains. So the same example I'll give you. The policies must be by the students, but the implementation should be by the people who has got an experience in implementing these policies. So that's why the national education policy is failing miserably. Sorry to say that. Shekhar sir, excuse me if I tell that. It is failing miserably. It is because it is drafted by a rocket scientist, satellite scientist. It should have been drafted by a student, and it should be implemented by a rocket science. No, but it is drafted by a scientist who deals with rockets and satellites. How it will be useful for my students, I really don't know. I'm sorry to say that, but all policies, you like it or not, should be drafted by my student, because he's a stakeholder. He should draft the policies, but it should be implemented by experienced people like Dr. Shekhar or Meru sir or anybody. Implementation should be by the experienced people. Drafting should be by the people who are utilizing it. That's what I would like to say.
I think a very important point कि हमें स्टेक होल्डर को वापस से वो अधिकार देना चाहिए कि वो बोल सके, अपना पॉइंट रख सके, अपना पर्सपेक्टिव तो डाल ही सके, ताकि पॉलिसी बना भले ही वो ना सके लेकिन उसे इन्फ्लुएंस कर सके. बिकॉज अगर आप पॉलिसी इन्फ्लुएंस भी नहीं कर पाएंगे और उस पॉलिसी में आप ही अफेक्ट होने वाले हैं, तो आई थिंक दिस इज काइंड ऑफ एन अनफेयर डील विद द स्टूडेंट, एंड वी शुड रादर बी थिंकिंग ऑन मोर वेज कि those students get at least a platform to voice their opinions, whether it's the NEP in India, whether it's climate change globally, whether it's COP or anything that you talk about. I think teenagers need to be a stakeholder. निकोलस सर ने यूनेस्को की बहुत सारी चीजें कोट करी, यूनिसेफ की बहुत सारी चीजें कोट करी, एंड मीरू सर ने अपने वहां का एक एक्सपेरिमेंट कोट किया. सो आई थिंक दिस क्वेश्चन इज टू बोथ ऑफ यू. व्हेन यू लुक एट योर स्कूल स्टूडेंट्स, जब आप स्कूलों में अपने बच्चों को या स्टूडेंट्स को देखते हैं, क्या आपको ये सच में लगता है कि आप अपने स्कूल के ऑपरेशंस एक हफ्ते तक बच्चों के हाथ में दे सकते हैं या नहीं? बिकॉज ये एक ऐसा आई थिंक अ प्राइमरी और अ मौलिक क्वेश्चन है कि जिसका जवाब होगा तो हम इस डिस्कशन को सच में आगे ले जा सकते हैं. ओवर टू मेरू सर, कि कैन यू गिव द कंट्रोल टू टीनेजर्स फॉर 7 days वेयर यू डोंट डू एनीथिंग?
Year before last year, during the Republic Day celebrations, I asked openly in the celebration, the parents were also there, 1,000 children, and probably 600, 700 parents. I told them, I would like to give my correspondentship to one of the students, those who are willing to come and take. One student came forward, not for a week, for a month. It is possible for them. What are the decisions? See, when I take the list of decisions which I make, it's not a rocket science. They're all simple things. Yes, a correspondent. See, I want a substitution teacher for the mathematics. So you can, our children can, they know which teacher should come. They know which teacher should not come. This is very, it is important, it is possible. I can give another example. See, my grandson wrote a general knowledge question 3 days ago in a school in Bangalore. So all the questions not related to his interest. He is in 7th grade. Forget about teenage. He is not even a teenage. He came and told me, see, my interest is animal, agriculture, plants, trees, and all these questions are irrelevant for me, though I answered it. But why should my own area of interest is not checked? So it is possible, sir. It is possible to do this. When you build the house, are you consulting your children? Where do they want their bedroom? How do they want to do this? We don't even consult our wives on building a kitchen. Then forget about asking children. It is possible, sir. It is definitely possible. At least my children can definitely run the school. And I really agree and I appreciate. I thank you, sir, with folded hands. The policies, even the NCP should be written by the children, and then rocket scientists come and implement it. And let them say why it cannot be implemented. Then the children learn it, because by mistakes only you learn, not by success. Only failure you learn. Then they can come, my dear boy, we have to go to moon next 5 years. So you have to learn this. My children are asking, what is the use of trigonometry? I'm not able to understand. Why trigonometry for my children? It is possible, sir. Please try and give the, authority to their hands. They will definitely run it. If anybody wants listening to this, if they want to visit my school, I'm in the extreme south, 40 kilometers from Bangalore. You can always come and stay free of cost and talk to our children and see how they are running the school.
I think that's a very good invitation that a lot of people should accept. If you are in the education space, you must be looking at spaces where children have more power. Nicholas, sir, over to you. You are right now running an institution within the urban ecosystem. Do you find this kind of independence in your space as well, where you can give teens the control for a week for your school? And do you think that it is possible?
Yes, we are all speaking about, I think theoretically it is looking very nice and sounding well. We are speaking about this, but when it comes to practically, we have got so many apprehensions. However, we are doing this experiment on certain occasions. In our school, we have done on Teachers' Day, Children's Day. On Teachers' Day, complete responsibility is given to the Students' Council. And the Student Council takes the complete responsibility of selecting teachers, allotment of duties, and the day teachers don't go to the class. And the head boy or head girl, they take the complete charge. and the student council comes into action, and they do really well. And ultimately, when we take the feedback from the student council, and then when the feedback is handed over to the school, we find that is the most interesting day throughout the year. That is what the feedback is. That we come to know that is a great, I think we need to look into and see how exactly they are running. Again, on Children's Day. Children's Day, again, now teacher become Children Day. So a lot of responsibilities are given to the children. And during school annual day, certain areas we involve the children, especially selection of theme, selection of events, dances. We do not select those things what we want. We involve the children. We take their ideas, we take their point of view, and they suggest this is how things need to be. Then children, teachers, all together, they write script, then allotment of duties are given, then overall planning is done with the involvement of the children. But when it comes to annual gathering, it is not only the students are part of that. But overall, for a week, I have not experimented. I cannot say that I have done, but definitely there's nothing wrong in experimenting. We have to do. We can give responsibilities to our children. Definitely they do well. And I have seen the way they function on Teachers' Day, they really do well, and they are very innovative. This makes me to say the agents of change, not only change, social change and innovation.
You're very right in your approach, but I think we need to create a little more space for teenagers. Now we'll have to find out more and more ways that would we only be giving them control to organize functions, or are we ready to give them control to at least decide 1 or 2 rules in the school diary that's given to them every year. So now, before we move on to the next speaker, there's one question that has come on YouTube. I would like to ask the another speaker that whenever teens try to take control, that most of the school leaders must have already felt. This question is for Dr. Shubhra Thakur, that whenever teens try to take control, adults get uneasy. And when they get uneasy, their ego comes in the middle. So do we train our teachers to handle their adult ego while they're talking to teenagers?
That is also required, but yes, I do agree that once the opportunity is given to them, they show their excellence, they show their talent. And only I do agree that shaping up their talent, that is the role of a teacher. And we are trying to produce such kind of teacher who are more compatible to the next generation to come, and who are very much equipped with all the policies of the NEP 2020, because I completely agree with all the policies, whatever has been framed, though I am afraid that its implementation is going to be 100% or not. That I don't know, because our teachers and our students and the future teachers all are not trained to that level. But yes, the policies are there. It's good that vocationalization of education, bagless days, all these things have to be involved in the school education, because once we throw them out after the school education, they find themselves nowhere, because we never equip them with all the kind of challenges what they are going to face. I always tell them that all simple challenges, day-to-day challenges, you have to face and you have to resolve. Otherwise, once that will pile up, you will get a problem, and problems are not being solved. So in my opinion, yes, the opportunity, if it is given to the students, they have shown their excellence every time. But I find whenever we have given, and yes, that is also true that the teachers are not, all the teachers do not have that passion of teaching, and all the students are also not there. If I'll ask the duck to climb a tree, you can understand that some miseries, some miserable conditions will arise.
Absolutely. जब भी आप बच्चों को opportunity दे देंगे तो वो उनको prove कर देंगे. लेकिन when we know this, when most of us know this, and we have already had a good experience of work, professional life, personal life, why have we not let it percolate in our workspaces? हमने ऐसा क्यों नहीं किया है? And why are till date we training teenagers to become conformists? If you tell them something, why do you want them to follow it blindly? कुमार शेखर जी, over to you. वापस से एक क्वेश्चन आपकी तरफ कि हम हमेशा उनको रूल्स फॉलो करने वाला क्यों बना रहे होते हैं और हम उन्हें थोड़ी जगह क्यों नहीं दे देते?
एक्चुअली दक्ष, इसमें क्या है कि हमें बहुत शुरुआत करनी है. और वो शुरुआत क्या करनी है, जैसे we are talking about a school of gumption, which is required, I believe, not only in schools, even in some of the higher education institutions and other places also. So there are 7 C's which are important if we really wish that our teens should become policymakers, influencers, and implementers also. So 7 C's are, first is curiosity. If you will look at, we are sitting here, we are talking about they should become policymaker, but that curiosity has to be there. If I am a part of this decision. Today, Honorable Prime Minister spoke about a major decision. I was talking to some of the youth, some of the students of the university. I asked them, what is your comment on that? They were blank, many of them. Some had their reasons. The second is courage. To speak out, as I was telling, shout your dream loud. That courage has to be given to these students if we really want them to be policymakers. Compassion has to be given. Because the world is becoming self-centric more. We are not talking about others. My progress is there. My progress is my progress. I say always that if your progress is not contributing, your success is not contributing in the progress of the society, it is very selfish progress. It is very myopic success. Collaboration. We are not teaching them. We are isolating our kids. We used to play in the playgrounds. We used to go to the schools. Today, like sports, if we look at, it has become a regime for fitness. Sports was a thing where team building was happening, where policies were made. Even in a small, when we were kids, we were making policies. What will be the team, who will play first, who will not? There were so many things happening. And the sport was giving us an opportunity to learn how to fail. Now sports is not there, collaboration is not there, calmness is missing. Today, everything we want that, okay, no, fine, I want it. Calmness is not there. We are not good listeners. And communication. Because generally communication, what one of the speaker was talking about, communication is not how I speak. Communication is how I speak with others. If I am a good listener, a communicator has to be a good listener too. So these 7 C's, first we have to think about that. And once it is there, so definitely by default, they will become policymakers. They will become influencers. They will become implementers. And this is exactly what is required to be done. A school of gumption is required, I believe, in every institution. When this new education policy was coming up, that time also we suggested it to the policymakers, and some of the part has been taken in that, not completely in this way. But this is very important, what we all have to discuss and what we have to see. And I'm sure that your program, a lot of teens must be watching today. So maybe they will also take out of these 7 C's, some of the C's in their life.
Absolutely. Teens शायद थोड़ा सा C इसमें से जरूर ले लेंगे. And I think at this point, all the decision makers that we meet, every day we meet school leaders and educationists from across the world. अभी जब हम पूरा, when we talk of India, when we talk of the NEP, when we talk of NCF, हमने अभी भी इसके अंदर फॉर्मल एजुकेशन में कहीं भी पॉलिसी मेकिंग को या इवन द प्रोसेस ऑफ मेकिंग अ पॉलिसी या गवर्नेंस को शिक्षा का पार्ट नहीं बना रखा है. Why is governance not a part of our education? It should be a part of education. And is there an uncomfortable reason behind it? Or is it an absolutely comfortable choice that we make every single day? This is something that we need to delve deeper into. We have listened to most of the speakers today. हमने अभी करीबन पिछले 50 मिनट में आप सबकी राय, आप सबकी आइडियाज, बहुत सारी चीजें सुनी. Now we would like your concluding comments कि वो एक मिनट में 60 सेकंड में आपके कुछ ऐसे कमेंट्स जो कि सुनने वाले सारे ऑडियंस अपने साथ लेके जा सकें on this very simple topic that we discussed, that can we really visualize a future where teenagers make policies for adults? I'm making it super simple कि क्या हम ये डाइजेस्ट करने को राजी हैं, क्या हम ये मानने को राजी हैं कि एक बच्चे की बनाई हुई पॉलिसी को हम एज अ रूल मानकर अपने जीवन में बदलाव ले आए. सो 60 seconds एंड प्लीज कोशिश कीजिए इसको क्रिस्प रखिएगा because we are nearly at the end of the program. Over to Kumar Shekhar ji for the first 60 seconds, then to Bala sir.
Daksh, we have already doing this where what we do not know, we ask our kids, like what mobile I should have, my son will suggest me and I will follow it. It means there are new things what our kids are knowing and we are following them. It means more learning has to be there with them. will follow them.
So we'll be following them. Over to Bala sir. Starts 60 seconds. What do you think that will we be ever ready to listen to teenagers and follow the policies that they make?
Whether we'll get the teenagers making our policies, I think it will be a Herculean task, because we are all following the British policy where they wanted our students to be only clerks, not intellectuals. With this policy becoming a little bit modified in NEP, I don't think this will happen in the future, in the early future. That's what I would like to say. It needs a lot of effort from the stakeholders like chancellors, vice, especially from the government. It is not like, because all the universities are controlled by the apex bodies, we can't do any, Shekhar sir, no, I know, the UGC, the MHRD, they don't allow us to do anything. So if they don't allow us to do anything, these things will never happen. Period.
Over to Meru sir. Schools have a lot more independence. They can take a lot of decisions. उन पर इतना हार्डकोर कंट्रोल नहीं है. मेरू सर अपने यहाँ पे कुछ कर रहे हैं. Your 60-second remark for all the listeners and teenagers, that क्या ऐसा भविष्य, is this going to be a reality when teens make the policies and we follow as adults? Sir, you'll have to unmute. You're on mute.
What Dr. Shetty said, I follow him. Whatever he said, I second it. I think please allow children to make policies. If it fails, it fails. All our policies, there are so many policies failed in this country. So many constitutional mistakes we have made, even politically, socially, spiritually, I would even say, it has done. Give it to them, they will run it. I have full confidence on them. My invitation I think my next chief guest for my function is Dr. Shetty only.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Over
we need people like you to come and tell the students, like Dr. Shekhar was saying, go and shout. We must make them. They are not passive listeners in policy making.
Correct.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Meru sir. Over to Nicholas sir. In 60 seconds, do you really imagine a future where teens make the rules and you follow?
Yes, certainly. I agree 100%. As I already said, children or the teens, they are the investment for the future. And they are also agents of social change, economic growth, and also innovation. And when I say about participation, it should be proportionate. When we say that old people or adults have got proportionate participation, even students also should have proportionate participation. It's not only the students, because the experience of old adults, that's also very important. So, and there is no problem. Students make mistake. With mistakes, we learn. We should allow our students to make mistake. Our forefathers have made mistakes. We have made mistakes. What's wrong if our students make mistakes? Let them make mistake and learn.
Let them make mistakes and learn, and you'll be creating more opportunities for them. And I think adults अब थोड़े तैयार होने शुरू हो गए हैं, where they're ready to manage their ego and listen to teenagers. Shubhra ma'am, over to you for the next 60 seconds on your thoughts. That are we ready to listen to?
Certainly, the children should have been given, should have been given the responsibility. I have seen that I have already witnessed, not only for the students, my own children, my daughters. Once she was studying in class 9, and what previous speaker was speaking, that they have not been given the opportunity to design the house and all. She was in a standard 9 and she has designed all my cupboards and the wardrobes. And today she is a designer, renowned designer in the Reliance retail industries. So therefore, what I feel, my younger daughter, she has taught me all the computer things and the languages once I was just learning it. And today she is a reputed software engineer. So I know that once you will start, and the good parenting is required at the same time. So once the opportunity is given to them, they will definitely prove to them.
So let's give them more opportunities. And I think a very good idea, Nicholas sir proposed, that let's give them proportionate participation. Because when we talk of proportionate participation, उस proportion में हमारे पास adolescents की सबसे बड़ी population है, लेकिन वो decision making का part नहीं है. So let's find more ways where we give them the opportunity to participate, decide, take the real world problems and give them some superb solutions. And यही करने के लिए आज से साल भर पहले Blub World started a small little initiative where we invited teenagers कि if you think you can solve a local or a global problem, we'll train you, we'll mentor you, and we'll fund you. And we are very happy to share with all of you that initiative, since the day it started, and at this very point, that initiative has got more than 50,000 teenagers who have registered, shared their ideas, shared their solutions on how do they think they can improve the world. But before I tell you about that initiative, a small little story that comes from Blub World, because that's what we do every month. हम एक ऐसा टीनेजर ढूंढते हैं जो कुछ बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है, and उनकी स्टोरीज दुनिया भर के टीन्स के साथ शेयर करते हैं, because हमारी स्टोरीज पुरानी हो चुकी and they do not impact them. So one such story for all of you. This story comes all the way from the US. She's a girl who looked at her mother who used to make candy at home. She also started preparing some candy, and that candy making became her profession, and her candy is available across all the Walmart stores in the US, and she's known as the Candypreneur. That's Elena Moss, who was on the cover page of Blub World just some months back. And that's what we do every month, finding teens who are doing amazingly well. And that's why we are building the World Teen Parliament, a parliament of teens that has voice, that has power, and most importantly, that works on self-driven growth. Let's stop asking everyone. Let's stop asking the government. Let's stop asking parents. Let's start doing something in our own space where we have the control at this moment. I hope you enjoyed the last 60 minutes with us. It was the Blub World Web Talks 175th episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And I hope you will be giving teens a lot more opportunities within your ecosystems. Thank you so much, all the amazing guests, Kumar Shekhar ji, Nicholas Korea, Meru sir, Balakrishnan ji, and Dr. Shubhra Thakur. And all the viewers on YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel. और आगे की Web Talks में आप क्या सुनना चाहते हैं, ये आप हमें comments में बता सकते हैं. So keep commenting and being here with us on the Blub World Web Talks. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing evening.
Thank you, Daksh. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.